Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Caveman to Cosmos with me, Alpha Pi Omega and Byzantium. So the turn is 7160, year 1689 AD, and we are one turn away from telephone. So what's new? Well, a couple of things. Let me just start by saying that Constantinople is now at population level 54, and we are not gonna stop until it has 2 million people. I'm not entirely sure if it was at population 52 or already 53 the last time I recorded, but it has consumed a great number of food trains. But you know, the fact that it has 257 growth now every single turn is really helping our situation here. So I'm really happy with the growth and I'm going to continue with it. 2 million people is going to be a great milestone for us, and I believe that an empire like ours really truly deserves a large city. Now, it's kind of interesting though from the urbanization point, because the growth of the city is not keeping up with the overall growth of the population. We are way below 10% now of our total population, which is, I guess, good, because in many cases you have the capital, which is just so much bigger, yet we are managing to have other relevant cities as well, like Laodicea, Adi, Mesembria, Misitras, and Philippopolis, and Adrianople. I kind of consider all of the cities above 40 now major, and we have a lot of them, and it's important to say that these cities are growing naturally. We haven't really been boosting them, so all of this 1.1 million people that are living in Laodicea are living there of their own volition, and the growth has been fully natural. The only city that we are actually boosting is the capital, which is great. Apart from this, I have, and you might have already seen that in the cities list, found a new city. It is a city of Cardianon, which has been founded over here. After reading your comments, I realized that yes, you are correct. We will never lose the possibility to settle here, but we will potentially lose a chance to settle here. So Cardianon is strategically placed in a point that will allow us to plop 2 more cities over here. And yes, there was a really good comment that we should start sending the great farmers into here, into this poor area, to actually make it gain more resources. Now, right now it has access to only obsidian, but we are already improving the area. We have some lumber mills here. We have managed to build a factory, windmill over here, and I'm gonna try to prioritize food production, as the city itself is gonna have a lot of good industry producing tiles, because you can build mines and quarries in Badlands. You cannot build farms or anything else, so that's going to be a priority. There's also a number of resources in this area. There's sulfur, we have some lead ore, and a little bit of fertile land here, together with opium. No, it's spices and resin, but we do not have access to it because there is a fort here of our neighbor, the Native Americans. Now, the Native Americans, we have, oh god, they have amazing music now. I don't know how it happened, but the Sioux tribe now has such a chill music. I don't want to attack them, we're not doing that, but they hold this fort, and I'm not entirely sure. That's another question that I never really pondered, if it's able to culturally take over a fort. So we're gonna have to see. Cardianon is gonna be prioritizing cultural protection, and we'll see if we can. I'm pretty sure that we can push it to the surrounding towns, but I have a feeling that as long as they have some units in the fort might resist us. So we'll see. But you know, the fort itself is not that important for us. Actually, there's a horse there. I want it now. Well, we'll see. Maybe we're gonna enter a war with them at some point. Either way, the second city will be founded when Cardianon is at population 20, which will take some time. I already have the captive civilians here coming to the city. It has been established. It has a sheriff, it has a medic, and a rifleman. It's going to have 2 riflemen there. We haven't really built anything yet, but it's working on a mining camp. No, actually, we did build something. We finished something. What was it? Maybe we didn't. Oh no, yes, yes, it's the ancient customs. Now I realized. Yeah, we heard the ancient customs. The first supply train was here, so that one already gave it a boost. But it's gonna be next mining camp, then community garden, university, because we want education. Even though it's growing extremely fast through all of these other things. Then a factory, cannery, steam crane, and artesian ore. Artesian ore is going to be really important because that is a source of clean water, and that means we can irrigate the surrounding towns. I don't think it's going to be useful for anything except if we get this one, but we have a sulfur there, so I think Cardianon is going to be one of those high producing but low population cities, like for example Kelea or Gallipolis, which have insane industrial yield, but the population growth is limited, for which it is really good to have things like canneries and mega farms, which we will eventually build as well. So that's going to be our focus at this point. In the meantime, we cut off our support to the island, but we did it literally just now, so I was able to push through some last-minute construction, which, as you will see, is actually doing us quite a lot of good. Because, yes, we are boosting the growth of education in our cities, as I mentioned last time. And you can see that Diniopetra is growing by 16 per turn, but Akegranos, for example, by 40, Prasinopolis by 15, Theodorikon by 9, and the other cities are also going to get to it very soon. Yeah, Kelea crossed the threshold, is now growing, and even other cities do that as well. When it comes to crime, we had a couple of cities, but as you can see, we are lowering that, and Akegranos is the only one that actually has still some crime, but I think I already... No, I didn't. Okay, so that had to happen recently that I missed it. So do we have any cheap buildings that could, end this? Is there the guillotine? Voice of the gallows. So it would make sense to build the guillotine and the law firm. Or jail. I think jail isn't gonna fix all more. So let's build jail first, because education is increasing. We also took care of the disease, but crime, yeah. Jail is gonna fix that, and then we're gonna build just the guillotine and the law firm as additional, and we can put the modern offices. All right, so it's gonna take care of that. Anything else that I'd like to mention? Well, we've had really a lot of growth in many cities, but nothing that I would like to specifically point out. We're continuing with the foresting projects, like you can see that the surrounding area around Constantinople and to a certain degree Nicomedia and Trebizond and Triadica and Theodosiopolis is fully forested. We have another area like that here, but I'll be honest, I have moved most of my attention now to this area. We have I think we have 4 worker group working on the continent, and 2 of them are now gonna work at the area around Cardiano. But that's not an issue, because one of them was here at Philomelion and already working around Sauropolis. So connecting this and revamping it and then moving to Ragusa and Justinianopolis, while the other one is gonna move to Nicopolis and Varna, it's also like a good idea. We don't have a priority, we don't discriminate, so let's develop this area a little bit. There are certain places where we can boost the yield of the tiles by being a little bit more specific. All right, now we're gonna get the telephone, which will allow us to get the new housing. I'm really hoping that we'll see those in action. It should do us a lot of good. So before we go anywhere, let's just see 73,016 manufactured goods, and after that we are going after what? I know that the previous episode was a bit more of a filler because we really didn't have that many good technology, but I think right now polymerization is coming next, which is going to be a chemical plant, nylon factory, and rubber plant. All right, and then what's next? Screw propeller. A water pumping station is actually a really good building. Sit sushi restaurant. Yeah, I mean, there's so many various requirements for these corporations. Let's see how it's gonna go. Motorized transports, we have management, we have, there's so many. Every time I reschedule my technology, someone comes in the comments with a very good point that I forgot about that one specific important technology that I wanted to get before, and I didn't schedule it this time. And I know I just can't get all of, I mean, we're gonna get eventually all of them, but I'm really just jumping, through the things that I want. We have management here because, that gives the assembly plan, so that's also a very important technology. Actually, let me just see. If we go telephone, oh man, that's all right. So we're gonna change it. I want these ones because this assembly plant alone is just an amazing building, so we'll need that one. So okay, let's change it. Telephone, management, motorized transport, and I believe that one, yes, that one gives us the rest of the requirements that we have. All right, but it also changed the, oh no, it didn't. All right, so it's gonna be telephone, management, and polymerization, then screw propeller combustion and bicycles, and then incandescent lighting and motorized transport. All right. Oh, I guess we do not get a reading for this one. So let me do that. Telephone. She always imagined their voices entangled somewhere in the wires when they spoke, caught up in a grid she didn't fully understand, passing back and forth. Once the calls were disconnected, she imagined the echoes of old conversations would be trapped there, floating back and forth with no exit, like ghosts. Warren Oliver. So, telephone is a really important one because it obsoletes a lot of the older housings and it provides us with a lot of the newer ones, like penthouses. They require sewer system, skyscraper. Oh, they require the telephone network. So we actually do have to build these ones, which we do want to build anyway, because they are an upgrade to the telegraph station. So, while this one gives us extra trade route, a little bit of education, and a little bit of culture, but costs a buttload of money, the telephone network costs the same, but gives twice the education, 2 trade routes, and extra science and gold. So, of course, this one is better. Still, they're going to cost a lot. I was actually thinking about this, that we all had phones at home when I was a kid, and we never really paid for them. You paid the phone line when you used it, but that was like no charge. So I understand that the telephone network is absolutely necessary for the future, or not for the future, but for the civilization to work, because it became an integral part. And today, all of the optical cables and everything are an upgrade onto that. But I never figured out the maintenance had to be paid. The network just has to be there. Anyway, as I was saying, the telephone network is needed for us to get the penthouse suites, which is something that we want. Sewer systems, skyscrapers, water pipes, power, city sizes, fresh water, marble. All right, marble. Yeah, but I think we have marble. I think we don't need it in the city vicinity that would specify it. You just need it, and we do, so that should be fine. What about the other ones? The projects require just sewer system, skyscraper, water pipes, and the technology. They do not actually require the telephone network, so these ones should be built automatically. We might even have them now, or maybe next turn. Then there's the high-rises, which again do require the telephone network. Alright, so we'll need to build that one, and they require water pipes. Alright, but we have those, that's not an issue. Mansions. Alright, this is not a great picture for that. So they require sewer system, telephone network, water pipes, access to power, and fresh water. Alright, so pretty much telephone network. If I remember correctly, we now get automatically the projects, and we'll get penthouse suites, high-rises, and mansions once we build those. Boondocks. Sewer system, water pipes, fresh water. Alright, so we do have this one also. Low density, low wealth. And then we get suburbs, housing suburbs. Alright. Again, telephone network necessary. Alrighty. Housing condominiums. Alright, these ones are also really nice. Sewer system, telephone network, water pipes, access to power. Okay, so these ones are built even in the smaller cities, fresh water. All of these are gonna be replaced by colony archaeology. Actually, obsolete with that, because those will, yeah, they will change to housing colony archaeology. Alright, and the last one is housing apartments, which is the regular houses. Sewer system, telephone network, water pipes, regular ones, no problem. Alright, so once we build the telephone network everywhere, we are going to be done. I'm also kind of interested in the polling firm, which will give us a little bit of money and science, but it increases the local stability and it's required. As one of its requirements is democracy. And then you have the call center, which also gives us a little bit of gold. And you have the mail order catalog, which is actually a pretty good building. So I would bet that if you count the call center, the mail order catalog, and the polling firm, it's going to make up for the cost of the telephone network. And a police box. Okay, that one also requires telephone. So yeah, okay, telephone network for everyone pretty much at this point. Oh, and we finished penicillin. Nice. Oh, this one is giving me major Alpha Centauri vibes. Okay, penicillin +2, great doctor generation. It's a world wonder, +2 health in all cities, +1 culture per specialist in all cities. This is why I wanted it. And can turn 2 citizens into doctor. Which is not bad, you know. We will probably use these later on when we need more of them. Alright, so let's have a look here. So you have the telephone or telegraph station here, which costs 41.07, and the telephone network actually costs less. Yeah, because it increases maintenance but also gives you money. So that's the reason. This one just gives you culture. 4 science and 8.53 culture. Well, here we gain the culture 15.99 cents, and for some reason I guess that's coming from the trade routes. A little bit of food and a little bit of production, and 6 education, and needed to build the other one. Alright, so you're gonna build you. I'm gonna build you as well. Yeah, we don't need that. I kind of avoiding the liquor store because of the, you know, it gives so little. But I'm not the one for prohibition. You know, I just don't think that this building is not very high up on my construction queues, nor is the photograph is there. You will see that many cities have pretty much the same leftover buildings, and I'm just gonna be working on various factories. I'm trying to spread it out a little so that we have, you know, like every city eventually should have a book factory, but you know, some will have factories for barrels, some will be doing carpets, some will be doing cloth. So I'm not always trying to select the same ones. It's just that I want to spread it out to sort of simulate a real economy, even if it, you know, doesn't matter much. Alright, but if that's it, you really don't have much to build other than that. You know, public restrooms, the disease is fine here, so let's actually build the factory for books, and you're gonna build me 2 of those. Alright, so considering we have a new city here, all of the supply trains are now gonna run straight to Cardianon. You guys are gonna, well, the bamboo. Bamboo is a really good, I mean, it's the only place where we can build the lumber mill in the vicinity. So let's do that. The food trains, well, you won't. Food trains are gonna go to Constantinople. Oh, and I actually haven't mentioned that, but I'm building, or did I? Maybe I did, I don't remember. But I'm building a single exemplar of each of these tamed pets that we have here. And I'm gonna send them all to the new city just to, boost the production there a little bit. Alright, with that said, that's all for this update. I'm gonna see you in the 16th turn with management, which is... Now we're gonna check out... Actually, let me just check out the conceptual buildings in Constantinople, if we do have the... What was it, projects? Oh yes, we do. We already do have projects here. So let's check it out in the next update. I hope you will... And we get the boondocks as well. Nice. So what did we... Shantytown was obsoleted. And that's that. Alright. So people in Constantinople now live in boondocks, commons, cottages, estates, fraternity houses, ghettos, manors, and projects. So I'm interested to see what they will live in 16 turns when we are here for the next update. So see you there. Turn 7175, year 1694 AD, and I have a feeling the time has stopped. We're never reaching the year 1700s. And yeah, anyway, we're still only 35.9% through the game. My god. Anyway, we are one turn away from management, and I would like to start the game by saying that Constantinople now has 2 million people living in it. And that is beautiful. 2 million people, and in 67 turns we're gonna see if it's just gonna get additional 100,000 people, or if it's just gonna start growing a little bit faster. Now, while we're looking at Constantinople, we have finished here the telephone network. So let's see what people live in here, because I have a little sticky note here that reminds me to look at that. Oh, this is nice. So people in Constantinople now live in apartments, in boondocks, in condominiums, in fraternity houses, fortunately also in ghettos, but in high-rises, in mansions, in penthouse suites, and in projects and suburbs. So the actual living conditions in Constantinople have absolutely transformed in the past couple of years, which is amazing. Now, I'll be honest, we're running out of things to build. I think I covered that, Oh, hello. This is new. Idle. Encourage. That might be good. Let me put those up here. Currently building the veterinarian, then the dentist, presidential monument, polling firm, and call center, which, as you can see, gives us a ton of gold, which will definitely offset the costs of the telephone network. We could also build a pasta factory. Really? Sure, let's put those up there. But yeah, really not much else to build here. These are all just minor. I really do not think that it's worth to, for example, spend 5 turns of production on 2.14 gold when the city is, its budget is going around in actual thousands, and we have so many trade routes. It was just less than a single trade route. But yeah, we're not gonna stop, we're gonna continue, but I'm just saying that it's not exactly that beneficial anymore. The telephone network, however, has been built in many other cities or is being built right now, so we'll see a market increase in production. I actually think you can already see here, I never remember these numbers because I record over a large time. And also it's kind of hard for me to track, but I'm pretty sure we had something around 70,000, and now we are almost at 75,000, so things are increasing. Same with crop yield, it's almost at 42,000. Gold, I'm not even entirely sure, but you can see that the population is now 25,029,000, which is pretty good. And approval rate is now the highest of all civilizations, which is great. Unfortunately, life expectancy isn't, but that's, it is what it is. So what have we been busy with? Well, we have been mostly busy with Cardianon. I think it was population 3 when you last saw it. Now it's population 11. And the production and food production as well. I mean, industrial and food production have increased with 11 citizens. The city now sits at 4,000 population. As you can see, it's actually utilizing all the tiles that it can, and it could utilize 1, 2, 3 more. So we're really... I actually don't know why you're working on the salt flats. Why don't you just go utilize this one or this one? It's a little bit bizarre. Why you... Is salt giving us some kind of benefit that I'm not aware of? Weird. But I mean, you know, let's leave it to the city. I'm trying not to jump on those things. But yeah, food trains and supply trains are plenty. They're arriving. We're currently working on the industrial farm and then the arboretum, cannery. You know, we need to boost the food production here. Steam crane and artisan well. But what I'm actually doing is I'm focusing, of course, on the major buildings, and I'm trying to boost the production first. So every time supply trains arrive, we pick up a single building and we try to get that one going. Now, industrial farm benefits us in every single way, but once that one is done, we're going to go with parts maker. It's going to be additional 30. I would also like to put the mathematics department. That one mostly for education, though you can see it's going up significantly. We have 32 increase per turn. Crime is increasing as well, and disease is dropping. So I keep monitoring it and just throwing in buildings from time to time. But I also like to build a traction engine workshop, which together with the parts maker is going to be over 50 extra production. And I think we're also going to build the Grand Estates, of course. And, well, the skyscraper is super expensive, but we're going to then, you know, just throw in a lot of these small ones, which each give a little bit of production on their own, all the way to the lumber camp. They are actually going to be finished within 1 turn, so that's a nice bonus. Then the lumber camp, the carpenter, you know, the usual stuff. And those are the ones that the city is going to be building on its own. But every time, as I said, the supply trains arrive, we schedule something a little bit bigger. Now, don't get me wrong, living in Cardianon right now is probably not a very nice life, because the city is in the middle of nowhere and it is surrounded by a bunch of bamboo forests, but most of it is just, you know, harsh badlands. There are a number of city ruins in the vicinity from our endless wars with our neighbors. I really am sure that these are Malini's ruins, but I cannot remember. You know, wouldn't swear. There's also some salt flats, you know, and a desert right next to it. But I'm actually using the desert to plant a resource. We're gonna have elephants here, which are the best industrial producing tile in desert as I tested it. And we also have farms here and here. These ones are actually forested, so we're trying to cultivate it a little bit. Which would mean actually to a question that I have, and then I don't know the answer to. In Alpha Centauri, you can actually drill for an aquifer, and when you do that, it changes the land around you. So I was wondering if maybe something like that could be potentially done here. I mean, the rivers work the same, you know, they're just a tile improvement, and they modify the fertility of the land. So maybe something like that would be possible, though I doubt they would change the badlands. Maybe we'll get more, more options how to change the terrain later down the line. I don't know. But anyway, all of the great farmers are going to be coming here after they plant the resource here. I was thinking we might actually plant something here or on these farms, because, well, they are not irrigated. Once we get the artisan well, they will be counted as irrigated. So putting, I don't know, rice or wheat, or rice and wheat would probably be good. We could put something like squash and... Oh, this one is actually an obsidian. It's not a farm. It's just one farm and an obsidian. Other than that, we've had a number of cities grow. The island is just keeping itself busy now. We do not need to interact with it. The cities are considered mature, so everything is kind of looking micromanaging each of the cities when they pop up. Oh hey, here's the one. I was looking for you. Ordnance fire code. So in 2 turns, every single city is gonna get -50 to the risk of fire. I thought that I already built it, but I couldn't see the effect. Interesting. Alright, so here it is. Anyway, I think with all that said, we can now go and hear it for management. So let's do just that. Alright, another one that doesn't have a message. Alright, Michael, we don't have a lot of time on this earth. We weren't meant to spend it this way. Human beings were not meant to sit in little cubicles, staring at a computer screen all day, filling out useless forms and listening to 8 different bosses drone on about mission statements. Peter Gibbons, Office Space. Oh, he's not wrong. So, enables, centralized. So we have a new economy. I guess this would be economy. And leads to compulsory education. So management gives us time zones. +1 from commercial airport, public transport, and teleport booth. Oh, what is it? Oh, okay, so this is a replacement for roads. Alright. We get business school. I didn't even remember this one. That's nice. That's a really nice. Requires management and university. Alright. Surprisingly, it doesn't give any education. Which, when you think about it, is a big statement by the game devs. Alright. Assemble plan. That's the actual one that I do want. So let's see what the effect of that one is going to be. And IQ testing center. That's an interesting one. Requires modern offices. Power. Replaced by healthcare mega complex. Alright. And the last one is racial profiling. That's a crime, right? No. Requires police station. The government now uses genetic testing at an early age to determine likely aptitude, tendency towards antisocial behavior, and potential consumer interests. So there is social calculus. Okay, so this is not an automatic building. This is something that we can actually build ourselves. And centralized. Alright, let's have a look at it. So let's see the big picture. That's an economy. Where are you? Society economy here. Wait, it's not? So it will. Oh, it's a workforce. Alright, so centralized and capitalist. So capitalist gives us extra specialist, extra money, science, education, so not education, culture, and spying, and it gives extra food production, industrial production, and gold in all cities. And it gives extra little bit from trade routes, and extra gold and science production. While centralized just doesn't give that much. Well, again, I guess this is a statement by the devs. Like, this just brings me back to the point that these ones, I mean, they really push a little bit of an agenda here. Now, I live in Eastern Europe, in Prague, so I'm not gonna tell you that any kind of centralized or centrally planned economy is a good idea, but this is something that's coming after this one, so making it objectively just worse without any kind of trade-offs. I don't know, these designs are a little bit weird in my opinion. Alright, let's just deal with you guys first. Wait, which ones are you? These ones. Did you build something there? Yes. You build a shaft mine. So let me railroad here. Okay. You guys. Okay, here's a desert, so got the shaft mine here to get the rubies. And we're near a solar police. We are working on, well, we're not working on anything actually. So put me a quarry here. And that's that. Okay, and we get a food train which we can utilize immediately. And the supply train. Industrial farm. It's gonna be finished soon enough. So let's just do what we wanted to do. And let's take the parts maker. And put the industry. Actually, hold on. And we'll hurry it up. And we put the industrial farm. Where are you? Here. In the front. And let me just check Constantinople to see those new buildings. So we're building the idol. And the gauge here. So what's new here? So you can build the business school, which is actually pretty darn good. You can build the IQ testing center. And where's the... No, here's the assembly plant. Alright. And this one is really cheap. I was expecting it to be at the end of the table, but no. This is really good. Alright, so we have the gauge. We don't need that one. You, we will finish though. Alright, so let's do it this way. You are more useful than the gauge. And you are more useful than everything else that we have on the list. And the idol is going to be the first one. I'm just thinking... Wasn't there a little bit? And we also need to build the newspaper factory. Alright, let's just fix this one more time. So, newspaper factory, business school, assembly plant, idle, and I'm gonna put the gauge at the end, I know. No, I can't. God damn it. I screwed up again. Alright, so first gauge, then the business school, then the assembly plant. Sometimes this planning is a little bit tricky. Alright, and let's just look at some other places, like for example, actually Adi is working on the Morse code. So let's take someone like Callipolis. What do we have here? Time zones. This is a really weird thing here. Does management gives anything else that... No, we have everything actually. Oh, I remember now what I wanted. I wanted the police proofs, but we do not have access to those for some reason. And I want to investigate what that reason is, because they never popped up anywhere. So you need telephone criminology, and you need a police station. Alright, and we don't have access to the police station because that one replaces everything and requires... Okay, so we do not have criminology. We don't. That is what we need. Right? That's gonna be some... Yes, it's here. Alright. So once we get criminology, it will unlock police station and then we can start building the police booths. Alright, that makes sense. That makes total absolute sense. So I'm really hoping that in 14 turns when we get the polymerization, Guardian is gonna be at something like 14, 15 maybe. And at that point... Oh, by the way, Abydos, presenting to you. They're building a storage pit while we're building an industrial farm. Tells you a lot about the power play in question. But yeah, I'm really hoping to see the city grow so that we can actually go ahead and found another one, which could be located somewhere in the central area, for example, because that, you know, there are some forests here which can be pretty good. We have some mines, you know, some quarries, so that would probably be a little bit better. And I'm really not sold on. I mean, you know, expanding into these points could be cool, but we really need the. Well, actually, if I put you here in the middle, then the next one could really be somewhere like here. Oh well, I mean, too much planning. Anyway, I'll see you in 14 turns with Polymerization. See you then. Turn 7189, year 1698 AD. Still not 1700, but I have high hopes. I think we advanced 4 years in the past 15 turns or something. So 1700, here we come. Can't wait for the 18th century. But, you know, we are still a little bit ahead of time. I mean, not a little bit. I think we're about 150 years ahead of time, all things considered. I doubt there was railways like this in the year 1698. No, I know they weren't, but, you know, just kidding. Anyway, polymerization is coming, which is kind of a weird technology. I really do wonder what these are going to give us, because they do seem, honestly, a little bit like buildings needed for other stuff. Because, for example, the chemical plant doesn't give us anything. It just requires river access, trading posts, sulfur, oil, and petroleum products. But it just gives fire risk and pollution. But it's needed to build for dye factory, rocket fuel factory, and resource chemicals. But we have that one from... I think that might be either a mistake here or I'm missing something. But the rocket fuel refinery, for example, gives something. And that one might be needed for... something else. Requires industrial park, hydrogen generator. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's, as I said, a little bit of a weird technology. The 9-1 factory is nothing special. And again, the rubber plant just gives us a little bit of money and unhealthiness, a lot of fire risk and pollution. And I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't say that it gives rubber or something, you know. Maybe needed to build resources synthetic rubber. And synthetic rubber... Alright, okay, it produces rubber, I guess. But, yeah, a weird technology. But we need it, you know, we need it. Anyway, what's new? Well, apart from the massive growth of our population, we are at almost 26 million in just a couple of turns. We have been focusing fully on Cardianon, which, as you can see, is now at population level 16, meaning we have 20,000 people living here. It's taking advantage of all of its tiles, and I think it already... No, yeah, it did. We have 4 engineers, so actually we have too many people already here. So we would need more territory to actually deal with it. Now we can fix that by building the administration the metropolitan administration, but it's not a priority right now because we have a ton of other buildings that we want to build, like law school, cannery, artisan well, chemistry lab. You know, the ones that are gonna start improving the city as itself, not only the industrial and food output directly. You can see that the industrial output now is actually pretty darn good. 739 is great. We have 94 food production, which is a little bit on the weak side, but we still can build the cannery, we can build the mega farm. There's a lot of other buildings that we can get here to improve the situation. Now, crime is fine. Education, not so much. It's at 1,000 and increasing by 7 per turn. But we're gonna work on the law school soon. It already was hurried by 1 supply train, which is gonna give us 15 education and further decrease crime by 10 per turn. And the chemistry lab is also giving additional 10 education per turn. Learning center will give us 12 per turn. So, you know, we have a schedule here to start boosting the education because, you know, it is a frontier town in more than one sense. But weirdly enough, despite the area looking totally awful, it's not so bad. You know, we managed to put in some farms, we managed to put in a lot of mines. There are some really nice bamboo lumber mills. So surprisingly, the yield of this territory is not as bad as I thought. It's really not something like, you know, this full on desert, but turns out, you know, with Audoxiopolis, Woodgoin, and the other cities, we can utilize even desert pretty well. So we'll see. Cardianon for sure is surprising in how well it is doing. So are the other cities though. The assembly plants turns out to be unbelievably good buildings. They're super cheap and they give us between 100 and 200 production each, which to my great surprise is actually, I mean, wow, it is such a boost to every single city that I'm really shocked. Constantinople as the capital is working again on the buildings that, you know, I call these build them when you don't have anything better. So we're working on a dentist, presidential monument, pulling from, you know, these ones are just money producing buildings. They will affect, I think, the scientific output because, you know, we have 100% maintenance on that. So they're not completely useless, but, you know, the output, like spending 4 turns to get 10 extra gold is not worth Constantinople's time. However, I wanted to mention that because we started building the factories for newspapers, the building called Newsstand has actually started popping up everywhere, which is a fairly cheap building on, you know, the level where we are right now, which gives 10 education, a little bit of science, a little bit of culture, and a little bit of money. I like it, especially because of the education. Because while we have no problem keeping Constantinople very high on the education scale, I have to admit that if the population keeps rising as it is, it might get a little bit of an iffy. I'm looking here, you know, in the long term. Think about Constantinople being twice the size, which will put extra strain on the education, and we will also need to keep pushing it up, because right now the threshold is 5,000, but when we're at the information age, it will be, I think it's atomic age, 6,000, then 7,000, 8,000. So it's not like only the population weighing you down, but you also for each age need to push all of the cities a little bit higher. So that's why I welcome buildings that gives this much education. 10 is actually a pretty decent output, and I really like it. Interestingly, for example, the IQ testing center, I don't know, some of these buildings are a little bit off. You know, you need... It costs double of the newsstand, and it gives free production and 1 science. And it's not required for anything, which is, you know... So this is another of those, like, build them when you have time, but don't waste time otherwise. Wolfhall made this point a long time ago, and I keep it in the back of my mind that you have to look at how much production you have in the city every single turn. And, you know, like, if I turned it into science, I would get 1,000 science per turn. Or I can build this thing in 5 turns, so sacrificing 5,000 science to get 3 science per turn. So to make this actually worth my time, just on the side, I know this math is not perfect because it's also giving us a little bit of production. But just think about it. We can either do this for 5 turns, get 5,000 science, or build this, which will give us 3. So you would need, what, 1,500 turns to make this building worth it? Now, considering, you know, our amount of turns, you know, it will happen. It's not a waste. But he was right that some buildings are really, you know, just build them when you have time. And that's why I'm trying to do a mental shift here. Because some of them, like, you know, the things that I'm building right now, the presidential monument, you know, pulling, well, okay, pulling farm is a little bit better, but for example, the ghee farm, you know, it gives 2 food and 4 gold, and it costs 8,000. You know, is it worth it? Yeah, in the long term, and yes, we are playing the long game here, so it is worth. There's not a single building that would not be worth it, but some of them are much less worth it than others. Anyway, I guess that's all, because really the cities are just growing, everybody is doing great. So let's hear it for polymerization, and once we're done with that, we are going to look at the overall stats, the cities, how we improved education, crime rate, and everything else. Alright, I really fear that we might be at a time when we will no longer get any readings which is kind of sad. However, I actually made a mental note. I was talking about it with my wife a couple of days ago, that once we get to places where I'm not entirely sure what they mean, like modern tech and future tech, I also want to read the description from the Civilpedia, because I'm interested in these futuristic techs and what they say about them. So, you have that to look forward to. More of me. Anyway, polymerization. Liquids require receptacles. This is the great problem of packaging, which every experienced chemist knows. And it was well known to God Almighty, who solved it brilliantly, as he is wont to with cellular membranes, eggshells, the multiple peels of oranges, and our own skin. Because after all, we too are liquids. Now, at that time, there did not exist polyethylene, which would have suited me perfectly, since it is flexible, light, and splendidly impermeable. But it is also a bit too incorruptible, and not by chance God Almighty himself, although he is a master of polymerization, abstained from patenting it. He does not like incorruptible things. Primo Levi. So, we get chemical plant, factory for nylon and rubber plant. Leads to motorized transport, which is what we want. So let me just look at the buildings that we have here. Okay, so see, assemble plant, just 4 turns gives 112 production. I usually follow it up by checking if they have a press agency. They do here. We have the telephone network obviously built, so let's build a construction firm. Actually, business school and then the construction firm. And I guess you can build me. Oh, here's the chemical plant, and yeah, it doesn't like. That's bizarre. Why does. Is that an error? Is that a bug? Because I really do not think that a chemical plant should just give you this many issues for one simple building. I'm confused. What do you guys think? Because this is really weird. It turns to chemical district, and yeah, that one I would build. I don't care about the pollution and water pollution, because this one is good. Why the hell does not the I guess we're just not gonna build those. I don't know why would do that. It's bizarre. Okay, I think this is enough. Build me. Can you build me only food trade? Alright. Supply trains are all ongoing. Telegraph station. Well, that's a little bit too late. Should build this one first. Where's the assembly plant? Here. Assembly plant, telephone network, business school, mail order catalog. And I guess that's it. But yeah, this actually brings me to a point. It is getting really hard to keep things efficient. I've been thinking about it a lot during this episode, where, for example, I started building all of the all of the telegraph networks, and I always schedule buildings, when the cities pop up like this, and I go through them and I check like education, crime, what kind of pollution they have, and schedule the buildings accordingly. But then you get a different technology, and what I don't do, because we have 65 cities, I do not go back and change all of the queues, because then I wouldn't be doing anything other than just changing the queues. And it leads to situations like this one, where we have just finished the telegraph network, and it's a waste, because, the telephone network is much better. So we should have gone already with that one. It also, what happened is that I realized that we improved the area around Cardianon, and I realized the cities nearby, like Justinianopolis and is Scalipolis? No, that's Nicopolis, are actually in dire need of fixing some of the areas around them, because they have a lot of desert camps which could be changed into factories, and farms and stuff like that. So there are a lot of inefficiencies that are starting to pop up here and there, which is obviously connected to the fact that our empire is large. We are chugging forward quite rapidly, and I'm trying to do my best, but sometimes I just cannot manage as efficiently as I would like to. So I like that side of the game as well. But yeah, someone actually asked me about building more industrial era workers, and I think that might not be a bad idea because it would probably benefit us quite a lot. So I might build a couple, but we'll see. Anyway, I wanted to end this episode by actually showing you a little bit about our empire. So, you know, again, a huge jump forward in manufactured goods. Crop yield also increased, I believe, a little bit, and gold as well. And when it comes to the cities themselves, we are also doing pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. So, where are you? So, you know, Cardianon 16, then you have Magnastis, Calea, Ataniopolis, and Justiniana Nova at 20. But you see that many of the cities are moving higher and higher. You have Parthenopolis at 23 already. All of these cities at 22, some at 21. So the cities are growing naturally, which makes me really happy. When it comes to crime, there is no more crime again in our territory. Theodoricon is building what? Modern Granite, Bardic Circle. Yeah, we fixed it, sort of. Yeah, but this is where the inefficiencies come forward. I think you should really build the assembly plant first. Can you? Or did I already schedule it? No, I did not. I did not. It's here. Well, only 43. That's actually pretty low, but it's still pretty high in some other sense. Bardic Circle would give you education. Yeah, we want that. And music school as well. Well, yeah, let's schedule this one first. That's a really major boost to your production. Telephone network wouldn't. And what about it? I'm a bit afraid of the crime getting out of hand again. Is there anything quick? 10 and 10. You have jail, right? Yeah, you finish jail. Guillotine. Let's actually shut these ones first. Let's build locksmith, harbor master, then assembly plant, and then you're gonna build the rest of it. When it comes to disease, I think the situation is even better if we have no disease. And education, you will see that yes, all of the cities that are at the low end, with the exception of Chrysopolis, are improving. So I'm hoping that we're gonna boost it even further. Some of our cities are even in the high 7 and 8,000s, which is really good. But yeah, I am focusing mostly on these ones. But unfortunately, as you can see, these cities are the ones that are relatively small, with the exception of Verinopolis, where it is a little bit hard to make the choices what they want to build. So I'm making sure that we do not leave, as they say, any child behind, and we improve them. Actually, Chrysopolis, what's up with you? Meatpacking plant, industrial park, skyscraper. So you have them scheduled all here. You just haven't gotten around to them. Metropolitan administration. I think you really need this one though. That actually is gonna extend the area of reach. So you know what? Let's actually schedule these ones as well. Again, this is the inefficiency. I should do this all the time with all cities and work on them, but it's just not. I would never upload an episode. I would just be stuck every turn micromanaging every single city. So I'm trying to find some way how to make it good. And then when it comes to water pollution, only a couple of cities actually have any kind of water pollution. Most of our cities have none. And when it comes to air pollution, you know, it's getting a little bit worse in some of them, but most of the cities are, I don't want to say pollution free, but up until I think 400 you get no malices, and quite a lot of cities actually have a really nice fresh air. Ironically, Chrysopolis is the city with no air pollution and no water pollution. Not too much education, but people obviously are living a happy life here. And it's not like, you know, with 4,000 you don't get anything. We still get the education, knowledge, where is it? Knowledgeable? No, acumen. We get the acumen. We could get industrial, I think, or something, but oh, brilliant, yeah. So we get acumen, and then we could get brilliant if we get better. So, you know, even certain levels are good. Unless we fall to a -1, we are actually doing good. So even this is giving us a decent bonus. But yeah, there is a lot to be said for improving it. So, generally speaking, we are running forward like crazy. I mean, also looking at the other cities, I really am fond of Persia because they are doing good for themselves. They got almost 2,000 score now, 24 cities. We have really good relations, so I'm hoping we're going to keep it. And no war with Israel yet again. I will need to, because of the, you know, Constantinople. Yeah, get the chemical plant and night. I want to factory. We have 12 turns before the screw propeller. So let me just... Does the chemical plant provide anything? It doesn't. So let me change it a little bit. I'm gonna build the newsstand and the nylon factory. Khram. Okay. And I'll need to build some more military units. I just want to... you're super cheap, so do we want to build 9 more of you to boost the attack on Israel even further? I guess we should. What about you guys? Steam tank. Doesn't receive defensive bonuses. Ignores building defense. Attack. I might want to try the steam tank, to be quite honest. We have none of these. It's a national unit, so let me build 9 of these. 3, 6, 9. We're gonna add a steam tank to the arsenal here, and I think once it arrives, I could actually pull back the Da Vinci tank, which actually it cannot upgrade to the steam tank. It only goes to the early tank. Alright, well, anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode, where we are gonna deal with screw propeller. What's the other one? Screw propeller, combustion, and bicycles. Bicycles, you know, are kind of nice, but it's gonna be combustion, I guess, that we're gonna really enjoy. Yeah, natural gas power plant. Creative construction contractors. Oh, that sounds nice. Requires corporation. We have that. Combustion and creative constructions. What is this one? It's a it's an HQ. Okay, so that just unlocks yet another corporation for us. I wonder when we're gonna get our first one. That would be kind of cool because I would like those. And we get a pre-dreadnought. Okay, that's gonna be an upgrade to our navy. We should really build more ships. We don't have that many, but this is not a very sea-heavy game, so I'm okay with ignoring that. Anyway, I just keep stalling. Thank you very much. See you next time.